This campaign isn't just about winning votes. It's about winning the heart and, yes, the soul of America.
In America, we don't turn to government to restore our souls. We put our faith in Almighty God.
All right, as you just saw, both presidential candidates have been working towards appealing to voters of faith. You know, it feels like this election has become a referendum on the soul of our nation, whether it's coming from leaders or the media. You constantly hear phrases about how the soul of America is at stake in this election. Well, our Women's Vote series today, we're going to discuss just that, the soul of our nation, and how women specifically are feeling about the future of our nation and its next potential leader. Joining us now is Senior Advisor for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, Sissy Graham-Lynch, and Senior Policy Advisor for the Catholic Association, Dr. Grazie, Christie. Ladies, welcome to the show. So glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, for Dr. Christie, I want to start with you first. Joe Biden has really come out and tried to use his Catholic faith as a way to appeal to Catholic voters and to evangelical voters. He recently came out with an ad really pulling on the heartstrings of voters. I want to have you take a look.
Joe Biden's faith has carried him through dark times. The loss of his wife and daughter, the death of his eldest son, Beau. But he's never lost hope, because Joe knows what it means to find purpose and service to others, to be your brother's keeper. And right now, that's exactly what we need.
The psalm tells us, weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Okay, if I see this ad, Dr. Christie, I think, wow, man of character, man who's in his church. As a Catholic or evangelical, those things appeal to me. Is this going to sway Catholic voters?
Look, this is rhetoric, and that rhetoric is pretty. It's appealing. It sings to my heart and to every Christian heart in the United States. But it's just rhetoric. And as a voter, as I approach the voting booth, I'm not bringing my liking of a certain person's personality or the rhetoric or the tweets or whether nice or not nice. What I'm bringing is my appreciation of policies, the policies that, for instance, Mr. Trump's administration has been pushing for the last 4 years, things that have been very appealing to me as a conservative woman, as a woman of faith. And I'm also contrasting with things that a future possible Joe Biden administration is not going to produce for me on the policy front.
You know, Sissy, I hear a lot of times from a lot of my friends and women in religious circles that they love the policies of Trump. They are totally on board for that. But when it comes to his style, they really have a hard time, and they want someone to almost empathize with him and understand that. And the biggest reason they would vote for Trump is because he's pro-life, but they're on the fence because of his character or because of his style. What do you say to them?
I think it's just what she said. I'm going to the polls because I love the policy that a party stands on. Loving a candidate has never been the American tradition before in our voting. You know, we didn't love Carter. Eisenhower's slogan was, I like Ike, because that's like the best we could hope for. That was the tradition we stood for. But we go because of what he has stood for and the public policy that he has stand for. This is the most pro-life president we have ever had. And he's got a unique personality, right? But he's been a fighter, because we have two political parties who are fighting for two complete different visions for America right now. And he is fighting against a party who's looking to overthrow everything that we've known as America.
I think that's a really good point. We are in a time in the world where people want to like who they vote for. They want to love who they vote for. And I hear people on both sides of the aisle saying that they're struggling to do that. You know, Dr. Christie, I want to read you a quote from one of the nuns from Catholics on the Bus. She says, Catholics cannot be true to their faith and vote for Donald Trump in November. She goes on to talk about that Catholics care more about than just abortion. What would you say to Catholics out here that say the same thing? I'm voting for Joe Biden because I am anti-Trump, essentially.
No, that doesn't make any sense. From the Catholic perspective, in fact, from the Christian perspective in general, we have to focus, number one, on human dignity. Human dignity's greatest assault in the United States is the death of tens of millions of babies through legal abortion since Roe v. Wade. These are the most marginalized and the most vulnerable of all Americans. And we're killing them right and left. And I want a president who, like President Trump in the last 4 years, has stood up for laws that restrict abortion and make abortion safer for moms, and hopefully make abortion less common for babies, especially in late term of pregnancy. He has also stood up for religious liberty. I mean, the nuns on the bus, I hate to call them that, but they can do and say what they want because of religious liberty in our country. So we need to stand up for religious liberty, and Donald Trump has done this. He has protected the Little Sisters of the Poor and other entities, other religious entities, from having to supply abortifacient contraceptives through their health plans, something that Mr. Obama's administration, they harassed these entities for years. So if Mr. Biden ever becomes president, he has promised to keep harassing the Little Sisters of the Poor. I'm a doctor, and as a doctor, I like also the conscience protections that the Trump administration has insisted on for people who have moral compunctions about killing and also want to be a doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist. We should not be forced to damage some of our patients and even kill them.
Yeah, you know, Sissy, I think a lot of people say, I love the sound of all this, but when I walk to the poll or I think about walking there, I am just so torn about what to do. I think I won't vote at all. I'm hearing that a lot, actually, from people. What would you say to them?
You know, back in 2016, there were 40 million evangelicals who didn't vote. And my thought is that we've been given this precious gift of freedom in this country that many throughout the history of the world have never known. And for women and for Christians to be a voice and to be a part of the solution, it's a gift. And many people went to go vote in 2016 on the issue of our courts and the judges. And that he has come through on that campaign promise. And she just talked about the religious freedom in this country. You've seen what they've done to Judge Amy Barrett and her Catholic faith and going after her, because that's what that party stands for. They will go after anybody of faith. And I think the most important issue in this election, too, is, as she's already talked about it, is the issue of life. Yeah. We are in a time in our country that we're not just talking about a first trimester abortion, but up to the moment of birth, that those on the left are fighting for that. And I can't even believe we're having that conversation in this country. Yeah. It's barbaric, and we have the opportunity to be a voice and to change it.
That's exactly right. Ladies, I'm out of time. I wish we could keep talking about this very important topic. Thank you so much for being here, and hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you.
All right.